All right, update on the sail barge. So I've got it in a warm warehouse area where I work. So I live in the Midwest, Northeast Indiana, and it's January and it is cold outside. So I needed a nice, bright and warm area to go to these next steps. So just panning around, you can see we're fully assembled and minimal weathering, basically one color, and that's the what with the rusted pipe, I think it was what it was called, the acrylic paint on it. So yeah, so today we're going to work on weathering. I do have the sails pretty much done. I didn't bring them with me. I'll do that on the regular or not on a on another video. But yeah, so today we're going to try to get this replicated. This has been my inspiration. Try to get that glare off. So you can see this is it's a rusty mess is what it looks like. As I was comparing it to the HasLab looks it looks awesome. I love the HasLab barge, but it doesn't really look like that. The HasLab barge is beautiful, and so I'm gonna try to go maybe to strike a in between. So we are going to go in with some rust effects and some more weathering. Definitely isn't going to look like this when I'm done. So this will be the last time that it's kind of one solid color, like showroom look. And so what I've got is got the Iwata airbrush, got the compressor ready. And so what I'm going to start with, and this is again like anything else that I do, is it's all an experiment. So, but what I'm going to try from what I've researched is the Vallejo Dark Rust, the 76507 first. Yeah, so this is a rust texture, the 73821. So this is more of a textured. I don't know how this will do in the airbrush, but I'm going to do some of that as well. So darker rust, the texture, then we're going to come out with a regular rust, a little bit lighter. At that point then I'm going to go in with a couple of weathering. I've got streaking grime and engine grime. That's going to be on the deck and some of the other areas where we need to have that kind of weathering to make it look like it lived in the Star Wars universe. And then finally I've got this sand, because you can see on the barge there's an element of sand where that thing is just dusted, and this is a transparent sand. So that's going to be at the very end. So all right, so we will keep you updated as we go through this process and bring you along and let you see how this works out. All right, here we are. Paint's still drying a little bit, but it turned out, in my estimation, just wonderful. So I went with what I had figured I was going to do with the different rust airbrush colors. Did the grimes, did the translucent sand, and I've got to, I'm going to do some streaking grime and streaking rust, some last bits of the weathering part on this. And so excited about doing that. And I've got to do a little bit, I had a little bit overspray on the top deck. I went and did a lot of those, just the streaking grime and the details up there, and then have a little bit of overspray onto those pipes. So I'll go over that with some of my rub and buff and the weathering pieces or things that I use for that part. But yeah, depending on what part of the light you're in and angle, man, this thing looks really different. Really, really cool. So I'm happy. I think I wanted a real dark color at the bottom. The rust, it kind of went down. So I did three different rust colors and blended that with the grimes and that. So pretty happy with how this looks. And honestly, on this side, all these panels are going to be off as I display it. So it's kind of a shame you won't get to see some of that. But really, really cool. So, yep, the Iwata airbrush that I got and the Vallejo rust effect paints turned out wonderful. And again, it doesn't look like the HasLab. I wasn't going for that look anyway. So, but yeah, I'm going to do some metal like scuffing and some chipping as well to make it look a little more beat up. Like so. Okay, here we have the almost finished product. So really, I don't have much to do other than start figure placement, and I'm going to pull the panels off of this side as I display it in my display area. So I need to do that. And then I had a board that I'd set this thing on as I built it, and kind of worked off of that as I moved it around, and decided I wanted something to carry something like this is awkward without anything like that. So I went ahead and used that, and I covered it in sand, like Mod Podge, and just I really wanted a tattooing look. So I'm finishing that right now before I take it out in its final spot where it's going to be displayed. But so yeah, I'm real happy with how it turned out, and show a little bit of the details here. The sails I elected, I printed the sails, and you can see kind of made an infrastructure with that. So it's printed on PLA, the fabric's glued to that. And I wanted some kind of a framing, which actually worked out great, because on the ropes that you see in the movie, I wanted something to actually attach that to. So I used leather strapping on that, and that I really like the way that turned out. So I really like the finished product. I weathered it some and did some more of the just effects and that on the weathering. A little better look at the ropes, the sails. As I cover them with that orange fabric, it was funny. I pulled that material tight, and depending on the weather, humidity, temperature, and that, sometimes they're super tight and pulled, and sometimes they're rippled like that. But I think that's just realism. That's the way it's going to look in real life. You're going to have things like that in something like this, you know. So, you know, I guess this is fiction, so I always say realism, but we're trying to portray fantasy and fiction. But you can see all the rail guns are on. You can see the cannon that's sitting in there, and it's totally movable. So panning around, really like the way that the paint came out, and depending on the light and where you're looking at it from, it changes, and is really interesting as far as that goes. A little more in-depth look at the rope and the cannon. That's the Power of the Jedi cannon that came with Princess Leia. I like the look of it, and I think it looks great in there. So what's next? Man, this has been a journey that's lasted months and been countless hours of work, and I don't regret a second of it. It turned out so good. And so next steps are, I need to run the wiring in my work office, where I want to hook these leads up for the power display to my 12-volt power source, and then get that thing. I'm kind of rearranging things right now and getting ready to take it in. And then once I get it in place, I'll pop those panels off and then start to populate it. So I have a number of the action figures, but I don't have them all. I've got a list of stuff that I still need to purchase. So working that in the collection budget with other things. But so yeah, so the next video will be me putting it in place and starting the displays. So stay tuned. And again, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. You'll be notified of content as I'm doing more Star Wars restorations and projects like this, custom pieces and whatnot. And if you're just kind of checking this video out now and you haven't seen, go look at this playlist. You'll see from the very first minute that I started 3D printing until now, and you can follow that process. And as I tried to document it anyway, and just what a blast this has been. So, and that first video has the website to get the 3D files and more about all that. So, all right, thanks for watching. I sure appreciate you guys and your support. Again, like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more Star Wars collection information, dioramas, custom figures, and all that. So thank you. God bless you all. This is Mando Mitchy. I'll see you next time.